Hello. Yeah, I don't really know what's going up with my recording equipment just now. It's done the same thing as last time, and it's like, it's the second time I've had to record it. So, it might be because I'm playing God of War in the background. So I'm gonna try and focus on just sort of like vlogging. Last vlog got taken down because I broke a few rules. Hands up, I got it. I've been given the rule sheet now, so I'm just gonna not focus on that. So yeah, got a few things that I want to do. So that's like, one of them is kind of like sing along to a song called My Mother Once Told Me, I think. Or I think it's just My Mother Told Me. Yeah, My Mother Told Me by Nati Dredd. I love this. I actually love this song. The singer's got such a thick Scottish accent that like I really like, because whenever excuse me, I have been singing, so this is like the second time. So my vocal cords are a little bit tired, but like it's like save your pity for the weak, am I right? So yeah, so I'll be singing that, and also be talking about my training and that sort of stuff. So like I'll vent a little bit about PT tests that I've heard about. So the PT test that I've heard about is like American PT tests, and PT tests are like things that soldiers, like enlisted soldiers, go through first before they can get fully enlisted and ranked in the army. That's the thing going off, that's fine. And basically there's this massive like hullabaloo about like gendered testing. I completely understand that the data analysis for gender shows that males can succeed over females in exercises because of the biology. And so my argument for it is gender neutral testing. I'm probably biased towards this as well because of my preferred identification of being non-binary. Now, obviously, this being part of the LGBTQ kind of like in the LGBTQ kind of like area, there's gonna be tons of kind of like scrutiny and both kind of like just sort of general phobia towards kind of like anything outside the norm of male, female, and all this kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, if people feel, in my perspective, people feel comfortable identifying as one thing because they feel that way, like what's it to other people to judge? Because at the end of the day, studies have shown hate only reduces the capacity for living and life, and studies have shown the more hate there is in community towards certain groups, both sides have depleted life expectancy rates, because hate causes stress. So basically my perspective is, across the board generally, it should just be neutrality. And if somebody is struggling to meet that standard of testing, then that's when it should go to the generals and superiors overwatching these PT tests to assess the person individually, see how they're doing, and for their personal details to be handled maturely, and say, look, okay, you've met this part of the standard due to your personal details. On average, it should be here, or you're doing well because on general and your personal details, your average is here instead of here. Like, it should just sort of be handled as such, and like time and opportunity should be given to the individual instead of just generalizing and putting them down. Now, this is from the outside looking in. I've not been a participant of formal PT testing. All my PT testing is done on my own. I'm British as well, so the standards could be different, the ways could be different. So this is just the part of the topic that I'm spreading my opinion on. So, like, take it with a pinch of salt, because I don't know how it goes formally, but this is the way that I think it should go. By the end of the day, I firmly believe if a person desires to have a certain job, they should be encouraged, no matter who or what they are, to keep going with that testing. And if they are going through with that testing and they are trying their best to succeed, they should be supported to meet the standard of that job role that they desire, regardless of the amount of kind of like time, because the more effort you put into your privates, or anyone for that matter, the more effort, the more support you put into it, the more the army's going to get back. Because the thing is about a team, and I'm always thinking about it in an army context, because I'm always listening to Art of War by Sun Tzu. So like in every weak army, it's a lot of the time it's because there isn't respect for the higher ups, the generals, and that leads to a weakness, because not only the communication but also the handling of the jobs that they're allocated isn't always kind of like done with kind of like the goodness of their generals in mind, and therefore like it doesn't really go well. So if this is causing arguments and the gender neutrality settlements are there, negotiations are there, I don't understand why it's not just implemented, and then when the individual is training, that their personal details is handled as sensitive details. Because I feel like this kind of like handling of personal details, even if it is something as general as and black and white, like traditionally seen as black and white as gender, like things are changing and things are different. And from my perspective as someone in the LGBTQ community that has dealt with a lot of adversity and a lot of kind of like misunderstandings, because the way I identify isn't as traditional as the usual kind of like non-LGBT person. From my perspective, it's stressful, and it is something that can be so easily figured out if we kind of like practice what we preach in a certain sense of handling personal information, and so to speak, and so on and so on and so on. But yeah, no, that's just my perspective. And so yeah, it's something kind of like that does worry me for when I do join. But at the end of the day, the fight's never over. The struggle it is a struggle to kind of like live when it's not in that traditional way of thinking and living and expressing, but it doesn't mean it's not important either to stand your ground and doing what you can. And it can be very emotionally draining to stand your ground, because especially for kind of like myself, being LGBT, like these things are just perspectives, and just sort of like the way that it is, being told that, like it's unacceptable or it's illogical. It is very, very frustrating that because I'll like express my upset with this, and many a times, like, the response that I will get is, we don't want you to change, we just want you to do this, and this is me changing, and it feels like a bit of a hypocritism, and a misunderstanding, but yeah, no, the fight for justice is never over. It just isn't. So, in saying that, where do I go from here? Let's do healthy coping mechanisms. What I'm gonna do, sing along to My Mother Told Me, and some of the words that I get on here is a little bit different, so don't mind me if I'm just sort of getting things wrong and blabbering it on. I'm gonna put it on low. I'm gonna try not to get copyright and sing over it, but let's be honest, if you're doing covers of songs, well, if I'm doing covers of songs, it usually will get copyrighted and that sort of stuff. I'm doing a leg tuck, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. I'm tucking my legs in. I think one of the jokes for the comeback for one of the jokey sort of comebacks for this PT testing is just sort of like, it's a meme to be like, bring back leg tucks because people can't do leg tucks. I can do a semi decent leg tuck. I can bring my legs straight up, and I can bring my knees to kind of like about my sacral area, but I can't bring it up to my chest just yet. So, you know, like, the thing with body training is it's not going to happen overnight, and like, depending on your diet and kind of like mentality and like lifestyle, you know, it could take longer. Your body, it can take longer than others, but it's all in your own time, and so that's why, like, I'm training right now and not later, so when I am like mentally eligible and physically eligible to go through with my training, I will be able to uphold the standards. My goal is to get to the neutral standard, and then if I get to there, to just work on it to get as high as I can. So yeah, that's just where I'm coming from. So yeah, no, let's do a little bit of singing and we'll get on with it. So yeah. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars and sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the prime, noble bad guys there, steady course in the heavens. Too many foemen, too many foemen. Getting really high pitched because I've sung before. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars and sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the pride, noble by stare, steady course of the heavens. Too many foemen, too many foemen. Take it all in. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars and sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the pride, noble barrack stare, steady coast in the heavens. Too many foemen. My mother told me someday I would course of the heavens, humanly foaming, humanly foaming, humanly foaming. It's actually a banger. See, like, the words in here, it goes, my mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars and sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the prow, noble brack I steer, steady course of the heavens, hew many foemen, hew many foemen. And at first I thought it was, my mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars and sails to distant shores. That I got right. Stand up high in the prow. And I thought it says, instead of noble barrack I steer, I thought it said noble bad guy stare. Steady course in the heavens, and then I thought it was too many foemen. But it's actually hew many foemen. So, like, I find that interesting, and, like, one part of me wants to say it's my dyslexia, and the other part of me wants to say it's just my psychology, because I'm hearing this Scottish accent that, like, I feel like it's something that I find a little bit more easier to relate to. So, and because this is what I feel like it's changing that, and you know, I find that interesting. So, and you would have heard as I was singing along, like, I don't always get it right, and that is part of dyslexia, and that's alright. So yeah, no, I quite like that song. I'm using Spotify. I'll probably get a copyright thingy. It's kind of frustrating, but, like, you know, like, whenever I do kind of like covers of songs, like, I'll always kind of like say this is who it's by, and, like, I never mean to kind of like claim it's not my own, like, I'm just singing along doing some covers, but obviously there's licensing and that sort of stuff there, but can't please everyone, can we? Too much of a utopist for it. Some people will hear it, they're like, what the fuck, I just want everyone to be happy. Not gonna happen, but hey, that's utopists for you, at least for me. One day we'll get there. That's what countries are all about. I can remember the lesson that I learned what like a utopia thinking is, and, like, it's unpopular, but honestly, I'm too high in the pipe dream that there's gonna be something so perfect, there's gonna be a way of living so perfect that everyone's gonna love it. I love that thought, but it's just perspective, eh? But yeah, no. So that's what's going on. That's why, yeah, I made this. So hope everyone's doing well, and yeah, no, I'll do something at some point. I'll write a poem, but yeah, no, I've not got too many plans other than just sort of chilling. So yeah, no. Right, hope everyone's good. Catch you later.